Today's sponsor is G Fuel with PewDiePie. And boy, I would puke on these pies. I'm for American pie. I used to whip it on the cream until. Welcome to episode 61 of the Off and Beat podcast. I am again your host, Clint. Just me. No, as a J. Cole would say, who needs features when I've gone platinum? And I can't even probably afford a platinum watch, but I've gone platinum. I've got a bronze, gold. And she took my money. Even though it's always funny how the irony of the whole music video with Gold Digger is she took my money, but then the person he ended up marrying is probably like one of the few people that had the same net worth as him. And she hasn't taken any money from him. So I would say he chose a great partner. People shit on Kim K all the time, which is fine. You want to make jokes about her sex tape with Ray J. I'm pretty sure she did have one wish. It would be to get rid of the sex tape. But apparently there's a second one out, even though it is whack to me if I'm keeping it 100. Shout out to Whack 100 for being whack about that. People shit on Kim K. I don't get it. All the things that we would praise for woman empowerment and praise for entrepreneurship, she's really like Rihanna, without the music and stuff like that. I mean, they both have fucked Drake, and they both have been involved with Kanye in some type of beef. And wow, it's like a great Fantastic Four. Kim K, Kanye, Rihanna, Drake. Man, talk about power couples. That would have been, is weird to me. Because I feel like Kim K is actually a positive, influential person. People talk about like the ass pics. Has she had plastic surgery? Probably. But honestly, she looks more natural than some people who haven't had plastic surgery. So what if they, touch up their pics for the IG? Who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? I would argue, who cares? Why do they care enough to do all that? Just to appear for an image? Hey, it is what it is. She's got a $1 billion empire just by herself. Her sister's got hundreds of millions and billions. I mean, something's going right. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying, put Kim Kardashian in the history books and, put her as like the top 10 most influential person of the past like 25 years or the past century when your grandkids are in school. I'm not saying she should be claimed as like the next Martha Ford or the Rosa Parks or nothing like that. But, I think there's people that have done worse things for money. She has her own business, fashion line. She took advantage of the social media age and reality TV, and people say what they want. It's the number one reality show in the history of television. And I'm not gonna lie, I peeped a few episodes here and there when I used to have cable. It will come on E, or if I'm staying at a hotel, it's through the channel guide, Of course I want to see if Lamar, cheated on Chloe again. It's always a great storyline. It's like, I just think that maybe there should be more positivity. Maybe there should be more of a positive woman empowerment. I feel like there's certain women that are empowered as influential figures, but are probably not the best representative of that. And I'm not going to say any names because I'm not here to drag anyone down. I'm not someone to drag someone to build someone else up. But I think Kim Kim K is a pretty smart individual. Um, if you want to talk, people talk about there was a whole thing going out recently. What would you rather? I believe it was, would you rather $500,000 or would you rather have a 30-minute sit down or an hour sit down with Jay-Z and ask whatever questions and learn whatever you wanted to learn? And of course, the people that want to overthink it are like, want to talk about business. Oh, well, you know what? That 30 minutes to hour you learn from him, you could, that's a lifetime worth of knowledge. And, yeah, you're turning down the temporary money for a long-term gain and all that shit. It's like, or you're just turning down a free $500,000, but you could have used $500,000 and put a good bit into it, into maybe learning about business, or use that money to start, to have some money to jumpstart, to pour money to reimburse and to rotate in your business. But of course, we're like, nah, I'm just going to take this hour sit down. And although Jay-Z obviously knows what the hell he's talking about, you could learn a lot in an hour. You'd be idiotic if you're truly passionate about that. And if you don't have money, right? If Jeff Bezos sits down with him, or someone that's making millions a year already and they're trying to elevate that, then yeah, of course it would make sense to take that meeting and you wouldn't need the money. But you're an idiot. You're an absolute fucking idiot if you don't take that $500,000. And don't tell me like, you gotta think the long game. It's like, yeah, you know what? Realistically, 90% of businesses fail. And which means you are not going to get your return, which means if you turn down free money, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Like, you could talk about long-term, short-term, and all this shit. If you turn down $500,000 in exchange for an hour sit down, I don't care if you have an hour sit down with the smartest motherfucker that's ever been on this earth. Because you can learn wealth of knowledge, and that's great to know. There's only so much of that you can retain in 1 hour. You can have your notepad and take all the fucking notes you want. Or you could have used part of that money to just kind of learn on your own type of thing. Or to go and invest it into school or courses to learn about business in the general sense. And I get it. But all those people... The thing that's fucking dumb with those type of questions, in my opinion, it's the simple fact that it's just really people wanting to people trying to outthink the room, people trying to think quote unquote bigger picture on everything and trying to be quote unquote too smart about everything. Because if you take the answer that makes less sense, you must make more sense. If that even makes any fucking sense, let me tell you, it doesn't make much sense. I'm not saying it never applies, but I'm saying more times than not, it doesn't. You're just trying to think just to think, right? And I'm all about critically thinking for yourself, but I just think it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to turn down a free $500,000 that you could use to elevate whatever you're trying to elevate. But what the fuck do I know? And of course, people will comment, hashtag, only real business people get it, 100. It's like, yep, you don't even have a job, or you don't even have the business to talk about business. You have just as much merit to talk about business as me, which is fine. I'm not a business expert. I'm not a Karen Civil, right? But I do know common sense. And common sense in all facets of life, in all walks of life, will always apply. There's always, of course there's going to be things you have to learn, you have to research your own, you have to have knowledge of, you have to learn on your own merit. But your life experience of common sense, to me, is what's going to help you keep sane in this life. Common sense can get you past a lot of shit. Because it's like the people talk about street smarts and, book smarts type of thing. The reality is you need both. You can't just be so one-sided. You can't be someone who just relies on analytics, data, and equations and provisions, and because sometimes even in those fields, if you're in the hospital room, right, and someone's liver is cut open, right, you know all the things you know by the textbook, but if you see something bleeding, if there's a hole, there's an air sac that's seeping air, you know by the textbook, well, we have to take this, do this. It's like, or common sense would probably say, hey, we need to take care of this now and do something to stop this bleeding through the air sac right now, or this person's going to die. Common sense would say, hey, fuck it, do it now. Not, oh, we'll do the protocol. Protocols makes, if a person walks in and, oh, my stomach's not feeling well. Another person walks in and they have a Chris Weidman leg because they just snapped their leg in half in the UFC octagon. If you know Chris Weidman's leg, you can look it up. You're probably going to treat Chris Weidman's leg first, then someone who, oh, I feel like I ate some undercooked meat today. Yeah, you know what? Chris Weidman's leg snap in half. You get skipped. Sometimes there's things that's more important to fix than your minor issue. Common sense. But, first come, first serve. It's like, in most cases, yes. But sometimes common sense prevails. It's not first come, first serve. It's who the fuck needs attention first. What do I know, though? I'm just a guy who has no business talking about business. Kim K is a very influential person. I'm not saying I listen to her quotes. I'm not saying I go to her IG to get inspiration from her sunglass pics on the beach with, her children. But I'm not even saying they don't have shady things that happen in their family. I'm not saying they've never screwed people over. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying, if we're talking about business, we're talking about empire, building something of sort, I think they are as successful as it gets in that field from a popularity standpoint. When we talk about celebrities and stuff. Because, of course, there's people much richer than them, but you don't care about someone that's making $60 billion who lives in the Cayman Islands because they're really good at investing and moving portfolios and stocks around. You would rather make $1 billion. You would rather have a $1 billion empire and have the fame. I really do believe, would you sacrifice a portion of money for celebrity and fame? I'm not talking about, would you rather be making $100,000 a year, be so fucking famous, or would you rather be making $20 million a year and not being famous? I'm saying, if the margins are close. It's close enough, but it's enough of a trade-off where it makes it have you think about it. Is it worth it? I feel like a lot more people than you would like to believe would choose. They would choose a little less money with more fame, because with that more fame, it fills voids that money can't, type of thing. Not to get too zen here, but yeah. Oh, Kimmy, can you kiss me? Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, would you, there's a little mouse was going around the house. Cinderella was cooking some bread, being like a little maid, little house on the prairie type of vibe. Little mouses were going around the house looking under Cinderella's blouse, And as Cinderella was twirling around the kitchen, remember this was a like early 1900s, so it was pretty normal then. I'm pretty sure if they would do that now, it would be considered very sexist for someone to be able to, be self-reliable. But anyways, she was sitting around. She was walking around the kitchen. She noticed these little mouses running around. She freaks out. This was before she was friends with little mouses. And as she freaks out, one of the mouses is like, "Hello, Cinderella." And of course she screams because she doesn't see animals talk. This is real life. And there was no reference of a Disney movie then, so real life was just real life. And she freaks out, runs out of the room. And as she runs out of the room, there's a little vase right by the door. And as she's walking to the door, she's running so goddamn fast. The wind just makes the combination of the floor she's running on and the wind. It makes the vase on the little table it was sitting on shake a little. She notices it and she grabs it real quick for it to stop. And she runs up the stairs trying to escape the mouse. She goes up the stairs, goes in the bathrooms, locks the door. So, of course, like a minute and a half later, she's freaking out, right? She's like, oh my God. She's like looking for like mouse traps in the kitchen. She's looking for anything to possibly kill it, like brooms. And she creeps the door back open. She's checking the coast, kind of like if you're going out of your room at 6 a.m. and you're getting ready for school and you're just waiting for your cat to scratch your shins to start your day. Because, cats have nothing else better to do except antagonize a sixth grader's shins. I don't know why I said I. So, Cinderella's holding a broomstick. And she's creepily checks the coast, seeing if there's anything getting in the way. She starts creeping step by step back down the stairs. She goes down the stairs. As she goes down the stairs, she steps on the last step. And the front door is right there where she's about to open it and run out. Right? As she turns the doorknob, right from under the table where the vase was, the mouse runs out like, "Hey, Cinderella, don't freak out." And of course she freaks out. And she starts slamming the broomstick down. There's 3 of these little mouses. She starts slamming it down, trying to kill them. They're like, "Stop, we're not trying to hurt you. Wow. Oh, Cinderella, oh." And of course she's like freaking out. Like she's not really focused. So she loses track of the broomstick. And from the tip of the stick to the tip of the vase, next thing you know, she hits it. And as she hits it, she realizes, holy fuck, this thing's gonna fall and I can't save it. So it falls on the ground. Vase breaks directly in half, and then a few crumbles here and there, just like little cue pieces that your daughter would use to cut herself. Nothing too serious. But here's the thing, she never knew what was in the vase. So she noticed, there's this long piece of paper that came out of the vase, and there's like some dust from the debris, and there's still part of the glass over this piece of paper, and it's folded in a long cylinder, right? Kind of like the Declaration of Independence. It's rolled up. So she sees it, and she doesn't know she should, because she doesn't even know what's in this vase. She doesn't know she even has the right. She doesn't know. She feels guilty. She feels she's being nosy. The mouse are nowhere in sight. They ran off, I guess, to hide. So she picks up the piece of paper. She rolls it down. Rolls down the scroll like you would the Declaration of Independence. And on the piece of paper, she can't believe what she sees. She says, as she's reading it aloud, I must preface, from your mouse. She notices, oh, this is from the mouse. They put from the mouses. They said, we are going to kill you. So now she's in a confusing place because they seem like they were harmless. She was just more freaked out. They were telling her, we're here for you. We're not here to hurt you. But then on this note, it says, we are here to kill you. And it says, ... And it says, she knows, she reads a little bit farther down. It says, go to the bottom. It says, keep going to the bottom. And it's nothing but dots. And at the bottom, in the smallest of fonts, there's 2 words that are just at the fine print at the bottom. Kind of like the equivalent would be checking a trademark or a copyright on a piece of paper. And at the bottom it says, with kindness. And as she reads it aloud, she starts laughing because she realizes these mouses are fucking funny. And the mouses come out and they're laughing like, see, we were just kidding. And they all started laughing. She's like, what are y'all's names? One of the guys said Charles. The other mouse said Ted. And the other said Ted. And she said, well, do you have a last name? Charles? Charles said Manson. The other Ted, Bundy. The third Ted, Kaczynski. She's like, aw. Those are cute little names. You guys want to have cereal? They're like, oh, we will. So as they're walking back to the kitchen, she gets like these little teacups where she makes their cereal. She sets their little table up. And she sets them like little old. Yeah, I think this is like the early 1900s. So we're talking about brand cereal. We're talking about Life. We're talking about Cheerios type of blandness. It's probably just like some corn flakes, right? Not even Frosted Flakes. Corn fucking flakes. And as they're eating stuff, they're like, oh, they're like, wow, this is so good, Cinderella. Like, it's like, is there anything else? Do you guys want any eggs? You guys want, it's like, we'll take some eggs. So she's like, I got you. Enjoy your cereal. I will make it. So she, she's preheating the stove or whatever. She's got the eggs out. She's about to crack some eggs in there. And she's looking down. She's just humming a little tune to herself. And next thing you know, she feels something on her shoulder, almost like a spider. She looks over on her left, and it's Charles. She's like, oh, Charles, what are you doing? Now, on the other one, it's Ted. Oh, hey, Ted. And then she notices, like, under her feet, it's the other Ted. She's like, oh, I haven't felt this much, companionship or just friendship with people. They're like, we haven't either. And from the kitchen table, she notices, wait, why do you all have the silverware? One of you has a fork, one of you has a knife, and the other of you has a spoon. What are you guys doing? And they're like, sorry, Cinderella. And Charles and Ted stabbed her on each side of the neck. And the other Ted from below was just dripping, was trying to catch the dripping blood from her neck. And they put all, and then they're like, "Oh, we got a better idea." So they grab one of their cereal bowls, and they lay all their cereal bowls to catch all the blood. And then when she fell to the ground and died, then the mouses went back up to the table, and Mary Poppins came home and said, "Oh, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down." And then the mouses started singing along as they're slurping Cinderella's blood. So that's when I found out that the medicine that Mary Poppins was talking about all along was Cinderella's blood. Wow, talk about a killer time. We don't want to be buried in that controversy. All because of a note in a vase. I guess that's what happens when you're nosy fucks. You don't have to know everything. If you break a vase, ashes or papers or anything that comes in there is suspicious, maybe don't read it. Just leave it on the ground. Just run out. Or just don't acknowledge it happened. Just walk over it. So what if your cat accidentally eats it and chokes on glass? Hey, it's better than, you getting your neck stabbed. But what do I know, man? What do I know? I don't know, but I know if I know, you'll know that I know in time. She said, imagine if we made a Disney film. And I stabbed your neck and it dripped into the bowl of cereal with no milk. Oh, talk about a dry spoonful. But yeah, Cinderella did not have a very magical day. There was no Prince Charming to, defend her. I guess she was on that independent woman craze. I'm kidding. But, I guess the glass didn't fit for different reasons. Because, the glass vase and not exactly her magical happy ending, as the kids would say. Not exactly her horse in the carriage ride. Now she's going to be having like a JFK funeral over the grassy knoll. Except it's not going to be celebrated because she's a fucking fictional character. Actually, I remember in college I took this, it was called technically something different, but it was basically a conspiracy class. Every 2 weeks, right? It was kind of like a 3-month class instead of a 4-month class. It only counted as like a half credit, which I found out later on, which kind of pissed me off, but I actually enjoyed the class. But every 2 weeks, we would dive deep into a different conspiracy. We did the JFK one for like a fucking month. We did the JFK, we did the MLK, Robert F. Kennedy conspiracy, where did JFK's brother Robert, did he get assassinated because he was going to enforce all of MLK's policies after he died? Things of that nature. All the Bermuda Triangle we did. The war in Vietnam. Just a lot of Watergate. All those type of conspiracies, type of shit that have been widely talked about. We talked about. Forgot where I was going with this. Oh, yeah. But, what really did, what that class really opened me up to, is that the word conspiracy has this negative connotation. When you hear the word conspiracy, it's automatically considered this person's lunatic. Like Eddie Bravo on the Joe Rogan show. His issue, though, is that people believe if you believe in one conspiracy, you have to believe in all conspiracies, and vice versa. Well, you can't even believe it. You can't even dive deep into one conspiracy because if you do, then that means you must believe that, the rich are drinking kids' blood. Like, it's like, no, two things can be true. Like, I don't think people are just out here. I don't think this whole like Illuminati thing is as prevalent as people want to make it. The Freemasonry, like, oh yeah, that's not the Freemasons and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of the thing is, I don't believe conspiracies are just brought out of thin air. To me, I believe in every single conspiracy. There's a fair amount of truth to it, right? But the question you gotta ask when you're breaking down a conspiracy theory, or if you want to get behind one, is how much of this is plausible? How much of this is... I wouldn't even use the word believable, because sometimes the most unbelievable things are true, and sometimes things that seem exactly what it is turn out not to be. Or like when people talk about 9/11, was it actually an internal attack from us that we actually had to have to reset our economy, to reset the unity, to reset people's, to be on alert? Because when you have people on alert, when you have citizens on alert about things, you could possibly have a better chance of controlling, because people become so fearful that they just want to be safe. And if they believe the government saved us from this happening again, then, maybe we have then maybe we can have faith in our government, which is a whole irony, that the way for a government to think that we can create trust with the people again is to make them question us on an extreme level where we cost lives, where we basically sacrifice our own citizens because we wanted to prove a point. Which, by the way, is not one of the most uncommon things in history. It has happened a lot where they've sacrificed people who did not volunteer to be sacrificed for. But how much of that is reasonably plausible, right? Is it even worth focusing on why that happened? Is it even worth focusing on it, or was it used as a distraction? I guess what I'm trying to say is it even worth, as a person who would theorize over the real reason for 9/11, or the real reason for Watergate, the real reason for all these things that are wishy-washy, for why they happen? Is it even worth trying to focus on every little thing for why it happened? Or is it more important to focus on the aftermath of the reality of the aftermath of that? And of course, the answer is always somewhere in the middle. It matters how, like, the reason why things happen matter a lot. It's everything. But at the same time, what happened. You can't, like, was it all internally created by the U.S. government? Maybe. I'm not going to pretend like I remember every little detail that was questionable. All I know is there's a lot of insider weird stuff, right? That's weird with 9/11. It's also, and also, I don't want to say credit, but I think something that people got to realize is how hard it is to actually direct a plane into a specific direct destination by hijackers. I'll tell you, my theory is I don't think the people that hijacked the plane were, to me, there's no way someone hijacked a plane. Because typically when someone hijacks a plane and they wreck it, it's it's a complete random place they wreck it. Because they don't know what they're doing when they're flying a plane particularly. They may have a minute knowledge, but they're not out here being they're not out here being pilots for, the US government. Like, they're not out here flying freaking stealth bombers, or they're not doing air traffic shows, for the people. To me, the thing that doesn't make sense about 9/11, my one, like, conspiracy, and I don't really sit here and dwell on it too much because the impact of it matters more than worrying about who really hacked it. It's like, whatever happened, it's fucked up. And a lot of people lost their lives over it. I don't think it was completely Al Qaeda that hijacked the planes. I do think Al Qaeda hijacked the planes, but I think the person that they had flying the plane, wasn't the pilot. Because I don't see how a pilot, because they hijacked the plane, the hijackers took over the cockpit. Because as an airline pilot, you would not crash into a building. If you're all going to die anyways on the plane, it makes no sense for them as the pilot to crash into the fucking building and kill more people when they're going to die anyways. So the hijackers had to hijack the plane and take over the cockpit and drive it and fly it into the Twin Towers. But you can't just get anyone, no matter how trained they are in military and stuff, and just have them fly a plane into a direct destination. A very particular small destination as well. Like, the buildings are tall, but you gotta have people that actually know how to fucking work an airplane. So the person they had to have hijack those planes had to be people that knew how to fly a commercial airline. Because flying a commercial airline is a lot different than flying a private, like, just small little plane. It's really different, as far as my knowledge. So I think maybe my conspiracy is maybe that they trained someone to fly these planes. America did, because there was a whole trading and stuff with them internally, insider trading. They didn't want, and Al Qaeda was going to expose things or whatever. So it was kind of like a trade-off. We'll let you do this if you promise not to expose this. And this by default, because unfortunately tragedy and unfortunately shitty things form people together. And it's an unfortunate reality of not only in America, but most countries. When a tragic event happens, it takes something like that for them to have people come together and ignore what's happening globally and be so insularly focused on what's happening to you, and that you can ignore all this weird shit that's going on. And it's almost like when you're grieving from someone after someone close to you dies. It's almost like it doesn't really hit you until, like, maybe a couple months later, randomly. Like, if a close friend of you dies, of course you go hurt and cry when it happens, but, like, you don't really truly process it and really see it for what it is and realize, oh, this is real, until like a month and a half later. It may take when you get to the memorial type of thing. And I think with 9/11, when people really started to dig deep of, wait, some of this shit doesn't make sense, was maybe like a year or months and months after that happened. Because everyone was so worried about reuniting America, showing we're going to rise above this, creating this unity again that maybe we lost along the way, the patriotism aspect. And I do think that's a factor, because that's why, like, when you really think about it, and I'm not advocating for this, obviously, but it's really crazy when you think about it, how terrorist attacks don't happen more often. when you really think about how not hard it is to, I think you could be sitting at Chili's. Sorry to use extreme. So you could just be sitting eating dinner at Chili's. Someone could walk in with a bomb under their jacket and shit and blow up the whole place. And there was nothing you could have done to stop it. There's no freaking security check at the front type of thing. Someone could walk into New York City, Times Square. They go walk into whatever fucking big towering building and suicide bomb. And it would not be that hard. Again, please don't do this. All I'm saying is the craziness that this doesn't happen more often says that 99.9999% of people, even the most fucked up of people, wouldn't do that. They would self-harm and not affect anyone else and whatever. To do something like that, it has to be something with a bigger... It has to be something bigger than just we want to send a message. And that's the real conspiracy. Like, what is the real message than just, oh, we're tired, like Al-Qaeda, and, you know, they're tired of fucking people. They're tired of America fucking with them and disrespecting them and doing some shady shit towards them. I don't know. I felt like I rambled way too much about conspiracy. I guess my point about conspiracy is when people hear the word conspiracy, the word conspiracy is not a troubling word. It's actually it's a common feeling, it's a common thought to have. And all conspiracies don't come out of thin air. All of them come from something. Now, maybe what the conspiracy has turned into over time, or the extreme that some people have made it, that's where it gets where you can't even take it serious. Like when people talk about, oh, all rich celebrities drinking human baby blood, chances are there probably is a couple wackos out there. Probably Scientology, probably some weird extreme people that are really high up there. Yeah, some of them probably do. But when you start saying, oh, Channing Tatum, you know, it's weird how his body just resurgently changed in 6 months. That's and no HGH, no steroids. The only way he could have got this was baby blood and Scientology. It's like, again, it's when the conspiracy gets extreme where it just, it's the ultimate, like, this is why this is. It's like, no, there's truth to it. And it's okay to say, yeah, I believe in this conspiracy. Maybe not to the extreme of what the extreme conspiracy theorists are all deep into it. But yeah, I believe almost every conspiracy you think of. Aliens, of course they probably exist. Now, to what extreme and how often do they really, like, come on, like, if we were going to have an Independence Day with the aliens, we probably would have had it by now if they really wanted to do that shit. That's obviously not what they really care to do. There's visiting. And maybe it's like, oh, they're letting us know their presence, so we're fearful of them. And we're so focused on them that we don't actually see what they're really doing, and they're going to take over. It's like, okay, probably not that deep into it, but hey, man. Hopefully when the aliens come down here, we have an Alien versus Predators, and the aliens take out all the child predators. Then I bet we would all become allies with the aliens. Like, you know what? Come crack a cold one. And they're like, we kind of are cold. We're always in fucking space where it's negative 18 million degrees, you fucking asswipes. Why do I want a fucking cold beer? Jesus Christ. But conspiracy. Ironically, conspiracy now is a conspiracy within itself. Because people will make you focus on all the lunacy, the negative, the extremism of a conspiracy that distracts you from the conspiracy. So really they're creating conspiracy behind conspiracies. And that's their conspiracy, and they say all conspiracies are from people who are lunatics and people who are in their mom's basement type of shit. It's like, I don't know. Some of these conspiracies have fucking documentaries on Netflix and made millions of dollars off it. So it's obviously very profitable. Again, it comes back to like Kim Kardashian. Common sense. Just use common sense. If something, it's like I was taught growing up. Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck. But of course people are like, I know it walks like a duck. I know it quacks like a duck. I know it makes noises like a duck. But for some reason, I want to call it a geese. Just because I want to. You know? A conspiracy behind a conspiracy is a conspiracy. It's all just a circle of conspiracy. Alright, I think I'm going to wrap that conspiracy up there. That was episode 61 of the Off and Beat podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And follow the IG. Trust issues. And oh yeah, don't forget to suck some titties. And clench my cheeks, and I mean my face. All day in the sun. Wow. Yeah. Alright guys. Have a great day. And don't be afraid to admit that you believe in conspiracy. Don't let these anti-conspiracy, because you know why? Because they're hiding. They're the ones in hiding. They're the ones who don't get it.